You might have noticed that most of the people who I'm being sent to that are mandatory reporters are women, and nearly all of them try to change my words into something that they're not. You also get to tell that even though there's plenty of video evidence, I get talked over. I get talked over so much that I just end up info dumping. There's also the fact that this is an incredibly complicated situation. This isn't like one fight that happened in Colorado and it was a mutual exchange and then it was over. That didn't happen. It's not like it was a situation where there was one person who was assaulting me and I didn't defend myself and then it was over. That didn't happen. No, this has been a lot of assaults. And of course, it's not just primarily women in the category for mandatory reporters. It's also the situation with the majority of the women who offered to help me. There was no honesty through any of it. Most of these women promised me that they would help me if I spent my money on whatever it is that they fucking wanted at the time. Most of these women pretended that they were having the same issues that I was. They pretended that they were going to help me turn it in, and then they just talk for days and days and days. And that's the issue with Claire Jordan. She's literally never lifted a finger to turn in any of these crimes that I've seen any evidence of. She has made these claims over and over and over again. But unlike me, she doesn't have any evidence of it. She sent me evidence that is evidence, it's absolutely evidence that shows that she has a very high IQ. That means that she's possibly very, very good at manipulating. Because she's a woman, she's been taught how to manipulate us because our jobs are to basically serve women and children. Anytime that she wants something, she can say, oh, my kids, my kids, my kids. Anytime she wants to break a promise, it's, oh, I have kids, I have kids, I have kids. Now, this is something I've been speaking up about since before Natalie was killed. The number of women who will sell you a BS story, they don't have any evidence to back it up, but you just want to believe them because they're women. Now, Claire's situation is unique. Some of the creepier stuff that she talks about, not the stuff with her ex that she has absolutely produced zero evidence of. That's one of the things about these crimes. If you don't turn it in right away, well, it's kind of difficult to get anything done about it. But how do you turn it in right away when you're being prevented from turning it in right away? When you try to call the cops and they want to send you to mental health. When there's issues that you have that create a barrier there, you need them to look at the evidence, and they're never going to look at the evidence because you have a language barrier. You speak the same exact language, it's English, but you're in a state of crisis, and they don't care. Many police officers have shown me that they just outright were bored. They didn't want to hear me. They didn't care what the abuse was over. Now, if there was somebody who was not traumatized by this, like somebody who's not the victim, not somebody who has had to experience this repeatedly, if you have a friend or family member, they have not experienced that. You're the victim. You're going to have problems speaking. That's why you need a friend or family member to help. But Claire Jordan literally never tried to help. She never did. Through that entire period of time, she wanted to complain that she needed money. She didn't have any money. I offered her because Casey ended up being a complete and total dud. And you get to hear her trash talking Casey all the time. Well, yeah, I'm not going to say that that's invalid. I know the guy. There's a reason that I stopped asking for him for help. There's a reason that I stopped wasting my time and resources on him. And instead of her trying to actively get her kids back, which is what she claimed that she was trying to do, she was busy making out with Casey. She wanted this money, but she didn't want to do the work. She wanted to complain that nobody would help her, but here I was doing errands for both her and Casey. I don't even want to see Casey at this point with the crap that he pulled. But meanwhile, in order to get her help, she'd say, "Oh, well, why don't you meet me over by St. whatever it is, the church over there at 9 o'clock?" And I'd show up at 9 o'clock, and it's her and Casey hanging out. And Casey won't shut up. He just wants to make jokes. Everything that I say, Casey's got to interrupt to make a joke. He thinks every goddamn thing is funny. He thinks the Natalie Bollinger situation is funny. He thinks that Natalie getting killed is funny. He's got to make jokes about me getting assaulted. He's got to make jokes about schizophrenics like Robert Farnsworth coming after me. Like, seriously, I needed this taken seriously. And Claire didn't care. She wanted the money. She didn't want to do the work. She wanted to tell her story, but she didn't want to hear anybody else's. The other thing is, a lot of the parts of her story are brand new to me. The story that she told before and the story that she told now, well, sometimes things change. Sometimes situations change, and sometimes you're straight up lied to and given the wrong information. So we can give her the benefit of the doubt on a lot of that stuff. But then there's the back and forth. Like, she's promising that she's going to help me, but really she only wants my help when she can use it as an out for getting her stuff in there. Well, fine. I would say that that's fine, except it's not. With the amount of time that she screwed up, with the amount of time of mine that she wasted, with the amount of my resources that she took advantage of, that's not fine. Now, I do continually make excuses for her because she was going to get her kids. But then again, she wants to complain that nobody would help her. Nobody would give her the money. Shit. I'm disabled, all right? I'm disabled. I got a screwed up back. I got screwed up legs. I got a screwed up neck. And that's not counting the mental issues because I got PTSD too. Now let's get into Shea Burton. All right, Shea Burton and Claire Jordan, both of these women. I got PTSD, and that doesn't matter to them. It only matters when it's a pissing contest or a comparison, and that doesn't help the victim. Now, you might have noticed that the calls that I make with Claire now, I don't even try to, to actually get her help. I just bitch at her the way that she bitches at me. Sort of. Because unlike her, I'm not going around victim blaming and victim shaming. What she did to me was horrible. What she did to me was horrible. And then after the fact, she wants to do the victim blaming and victim shaming and the, oh, poor me, I'm just a girl, I'm just a girl, I'm just a girl, I'm someone's mother, I'm someone's mother, I'm someone's mother. No. So Claire, of course, when there's a crisis, and this is what she's told me, she promises that if this happens and I call her, she'll help me to turn it in right away. And then literally every single time that this has happened, she is either not answered for weeks or called up to treat me completely like shit. Like, imagine if she called me up and said, "Hey, my ex husband just came at me with a baseball bat," and I started yelling at her. Imagine that. Yeah, that's what happened on May 19th of last year. May 19th of last year, I called her for help. My supposed friend who was supposedly going to help me, and she's just a liar. The stuff that she said about TFCC, I can verify that's the truth. At least as far as personal experience goes, I can't verify that they did that to her, but I can verify that those are their protocols, so it's very likely that it happened to her. However, just because they did it to me doesn't mean they did it to her. Now, I took her word for it. I gave her the benefit of the doubt. I also listened to her story. When we finally made it up the mountains, right? Because we had to do what Casey wanted because Claire was just going to go along with literally anything that Casey said. So I tried to explain, hey, we can go to the library. I'd already paid Casey for his time more than once by this time, and he always effed it off. So I don't want to show Casey anything. I literally am trying to work with Claire because Claire's claiming that she understands this stuff and she knows this stuff and she's trying to turn in the same people that I am, but she's not looking at any evidence. And when it comes to the time that she claims that she's going to help me, well, at first it was going to be a 50-50 thing. She was going to help me, and in exchange, I was going to spend an equal amount of time helping her. So you help me for a half an hour, I'll help you for half an hour. It didn't end up being that way. It ended up being like the first day, I ended up listening to Casey making jokes the whole time until I had a mental breakdown from him not shutting the fuck up. Stop making jokes. It's not a funny situation. It's mean for you to keep doing that, especially when I've asked you to stop. And he just wouldn't let up. And Claire was sitting there in the passenger seat laughing about it. No, that didn't make me feel very good. Then they promised they'd help me the next day. Oh, I'm sorry. We'll make it up to you tomorrow. So what happened the next day? I spent the whole day running around doing errands for them, taking their batteries in to get them charged down at the auto parts store, going back to get the batteries and bringing them back to their vehicles. Then a promise for they're going to help me the next. They never helped me. They literally never helped me the whole time. They never helped me. The help that I needed was the exact same help that Claire needed. She needed somebody to look at the evidence so that they know what the hell's going on and then go in with her. Because when they try to pretend that she's schizophrenic, you can speak up and say, no, there's video evidence. I've seen the evidence. There's paper evidence. I've seen the paper evidence. The problem is, Claire didn't produce any of this. She just wanted me to believe her story blindly. Now, this is a manipulation tactic a lot of women use when they want something and they're not getting what they want. I'll give you another example of this. There's a woman named Jamie, and she was living with a guy named James up in Rapid City, South Dakota. So Jamie gets a hold of me and tells me she needs a hero. I get up there, and apparently she's telling me about this abusive relationship and how she's moving out. She's trying to move out while he's not there. And, you know, I was supposed to watch the house while she was over there packing this stuff, and he was supposed to be gone for the weekend. Well, apparently he wasn't gone for the weekend, and he showed up and he put bruises all over her. And depending on who you listen to, she told different stories to different people. The story that she told me is not the same one that she told her son. She told her son that he pushed her down the stairs. And then James's story was that she was hitting him and he pushed her into the bookcase. So I mean, something happened there, right? But she didn't want to turn it in. She wanted to go back to him. And she did apparently go back to him. But also, when she went back to him, she was playing head games. Oh, Sean, I'm scared. I live in the same town as James. I'm scared that he's going to hurt me. Oh, Sean, we need to call once a week to make sure I'm okay, make sure the boy's okay. And so I did. And then she didn't answer the phone for 2 weeks. And obviously, yes, I freaked out. I definitely freaked out. That was right before Natalie was killed. It's a manipulation thing. Yes, he did some wrong stuff. James definitely did some wrong stuff. But the situation with Jamie was that, yeah, sure, when she needs help, she's got all these people that'll come running and help her. But when those people need help, she wants to talk about tough love and how you need to be able to take care of it yourself and how she's done all this herself. She hasn't. Jamie didn't do any of the stuff that she did by herself. Most of the opportunities that she got were not because of any education that she has, it's because of her looks. And she knows it. And she tries to manipulate that. And she tries to use it to manipulate others. Unfortunately, it doesn't work on everybody. So I get to hear people like Claire Jordan and people like Shea Burton. women who want to throw it in my face that they got PTSD. When they want help, they expect it immediately. When they're mean to people, they should get away with it. They believe that having PTSD gives them the right to treat people like shit for no reason, and that's not reality. What's the difference between Claire and I? If she calls me up needing help, do I say, oh, well, I don't care? No, I don't. Do I treat her like she's a horrible person and that the only people that matter is my niece and my sister, who, by the way, when Claire let me know what happened to her daughter, I turned it in right away. That is the decent thing to do. Not to make excuses for literally years and pretend that you're going to help somebody out who you've ripped off repeatedly and lied to repeatedly and intentionally misrepresented situations with repeatedly. No, I don't trust Claire Jordan as far as I can throw her. Well, she wants me to just blindly believe her and help her through this stuff. There's also the situation where when I offer, well, she doesn't accept it, but then she wants to complain at me later that nobody would help her. Absolutely, people would help her. I offered to help her exactly how she was asking. That was exactly the help that she promised me. We both needed the same help, someone to go in with us. But she wanted to grossly reinterpret that to she had to have a boyfriend or nobody was going to help. No, that's not how it works. You need a witness, not a penis. Like that part of her reality is definitely defunct. And yes, I will say that here in Tillamook, the way that some women are treated by some of the groups here, I've never seen it. I've never seen this anywhere but on TV, in movies. So when Claire talks about being treated that way, yes, I've seen that with my own two eyes. I've spoken to a few other people who may potentially be victims of that same thing. At least they claim to be. And of course, it's a lot different than the guys out here who are claiming that they're being abducted by purple aliens and red aliens and the Greys helped them out and all this other crazy stuff. I mean, what she's talking about is definitely realistic. Between human trafficking and dragons, I absolutely know that human trafficking exists. That's reality. And one of the things that she is not happy about is people treating her like she's bipolar. PTSD comes with mood swings too. Like when a victim tries to come forward and turn in abuse, and you treat them like a liar. At the same time, I truly believe that we need to treat more women like liars. I don't think that it's okay that we have this sexism benefit of the doubt or this police officer benefit of the doubt. See, I've got evidence of actual abuse against me, and I've been prevented from showing any of it in court because the lies that are being told by these people that have no evidence to back it up, well, these people get the benefit of the doubt. You got a badge, you get the benefit of the doubt. If you're a female who's being victimized, well, we got laws for that. The Violence Against Women Act. Well, what about the violence against the disabled? Hmm? Does that matter? Now, Claire and I do have a lot in common as far as both being autistic. Have I seen any evidence that she's autistic? Mannerism, sort of, yes. But I haven't seen any paper evidence that she's autistic. Now, I've had paper evidence that shows that I'm autistic for years and years and years, and I still have to keep on getting more. But the issue is that none of my public pretenders are going to give a shit unless I have a friend or family member who is actively involved. That doesn't mean somebody who pretends to give a shit for 10 minutes once every 3 months. That doesn't mean somebody who, when I call them because somebody just came at me with a bat, is going to treat me like I am the world's worst piece of shit because I need help. So I got several phones where me and Claire have messaged each other, and in one of them, I had just gotten a message from her on my old phone, and it broke, so I couldn't even get the message from her. So I had to try to message her from a different phone. Anyway, when I was finally able to message her on this phone, which I had to buy, let's play this. Let me scroll up to the top first. The first message is me sending to her, it's Sean Schwartz, had to buy a new phone. I'm trying to figure out how to work it. And then let me press play because I sent an audio thing. All right, I'm going to try to document this best I can. Since you typed to document it, I should answer your other question first, though. No, I did not come up here for the men's shelter. There actually isn't one. I came up here because a lady was stranded in Tillamook and needed a ride home. I got her safely home, though. What happened here is that I went to an autism place called Step Up or something like that. I should have dug out my papers before I called you. That would have made this a lot easier. Anyway, I'm going to send this real quick and then go to the bathroom and then I'll start another one. All right, so that message, I was in Warrenton and Astoria and being bullied in Warrenton and Astoria over it. Now, she'd sent me some mean messages and then some nice messages. She goes back and forth between being completely shitty to me and wanting something. And that's why she had originally called me back, is because she wanted something. So, she types nicely to me a lot, wants to offer those words of wastefulness, basically. But if we scroll down a bunch, because there's even more, there's stuff that's important. You got kids, I can understand your kids are the most important thing. But the thing is, you go stabbing people who are helping you in the back, you don't get to complain that people won't help you. The other thing is, if you are going to help somebody, help them the way that they need, not the way that you want after you've made a promise to help them how they need. Don't take people's money for services that you're not rendering. If you're not willing to help, don't offer to help. If you actually care, listen to the victim and help them turn it in. See, with Claire, the stuff that I've seen leads me to believe most of what she says. My experiences with TFCC and CARE, and of course, the police department, sheriff's department, and Helping Hands. I went to all those places in 2022, and after going to them the first time by myself, I had to try to turn them in because they didn't care about the abuse and still don't. Now, Claire Jordan could care about the abuse. She could do something about it. Now, if I let you know how many times I tried to turn in the abuse that she is telling me about, you would be absolutely astonished. I mean, I've got piece of paper after piece of paper in the jail verifying that I kept on trying to turn it in. She has never once tried to help me turn this stuff in. See, the difference between her claiming that she did these things and me is that I have proof that I tried. I also have proof that I tried to turn it in with her and she wasn't having it. She wanted to go off and do her own thing and then complain that nobody offered to help her and nobody would go in with her. Well, excuse me, says I. I'm not the guy you get to yell at for that. I'm the guy who offered to go in with you repeatedly. Not only did I offer to go in with her repeatedly, I listened to her story, which, well, there's a lot of stuff that she left out the first time she told it, but understandably, it's a pretty long story. But I listened to her story and I was willing to look at her evidence, but she just didn't have any. I was willing to help turn it in with her, but she'd complain and she'd say, "Yeah, I want help turning it in. I want somebody to go in with me." And I'd offer and I'd offer. And then she'd say, "No, I'm going to go in by myself." Okay, you went in by yourself. You don't get to complain that nobody would go in with you. Now, then there's a situation of when somebody says they'll go in with you, but they don't know anything about the situation. That's really a screwed up situation to put somebody into because they're not really there for moral support either. They're basically there to sit there and look pretty. Now, that does slightly decrease your chances of being talked over and bowled over and being treated like you're an idiot or a schizophrenic moron, just slightly. But if you go in there with a friend or family member, it's assumed that a friend or family member knows you and loves you. They know your quirks. They know your little idiosyncrasies. So when you go in with a friend or family member after you've been assaulted, and your friend or family member says, "Hey, he is being assaulted," you know, before the situation with Natalie, and even afterwards, a lot of people got a hold of me and said, "Hey, Sean, you're the most honest guy I know." Like, well, don't tell me that. Why don't you tell others that? I'm being harmed everywhere I go because people like you aren't speaking up. I'm the most honest guy you know, but you're just going to let people continue to harm me and treat me like I'm a schizophrenic liar. Yeah, what a friend you are. Claire Jordan isn't any better of a friend. See, all these folks who pretended like they were going to help me to turn this in, pretended like they cared. It's pretend because their actions show that they don't care enough to follow the most simple instruction for keeping the victim safe. Turn it in with someone else. Turn it in with a friend or family member. If you're not willing to get to know me well enough to be my friend, that's fine. You can act in the place of a friend or family member simply by looking at the evidence, verify that it's real, as in not a delusion, and then help me to fucking turn it in. Because if you don't turn it in with me, I will get treated like it's a delusion. If you don't tell them that that piece of evidence exists, even though these guys know that it exists, they're pretending that I'm a schizophrenic idiot, just like they treated Claire. But Claire's a selfish person. See, she uses her kids as an excuse. It's not a valid excuse. I make excuses for the horrible things that she did because in the end it turned out all right and she got her kids. So I can, to some degree, forgive her for it, except she still does it. When she claims that she's going to help me, when she claims that she's going to turn it in with me, 100% of the time she's been a no call, no show. Instead of having the common courtesy, like you would expect out of anybody with a penis, to at least let you know that they're not going to show up. No, she ignored me for 4 days. That's her MO. She doesn't care. Somebody who actually cares about you is going to get a hold of you as soon as they can. Now, I'm not talking about all these crazy internet nut jobs that you want to email a guy while he's at work 20 times and then break up with him or accuse him of cheating on you because he can't text you while he's at work. No, this isn't one of those situations. This is one of those situations where if you genuinely care, you help the victim to turn it in right away. If you got this sick thing in your head that tells you that everybody who's on the streets gets treated like you do in a house, that's not true. We don't get the benefit of the doubt. It is not innocent until proven guilty. It is guilty and you're not allowed to prove your innocence. That is straight up how it is. The one thing that can prevent that is having a friend or family member go in with you when you have to turn it in. The problem is that, well, men pull the you just need to man up thing and women pull the you just need to man up thing. And I want to ask you, if this stuff happened to a woman, would you help her? Reality is, if a woman pretends that this stuff is happening to her, you will help her. You will help to destroy an innocent man's life because a woman was embarrassed or because her boyfriend kicked her out. Well, of course he kicked her out. She got busted cheating. That's usually the situation. Or he's sick of her crap. Give me this, give me that. Sick of one way friendships, one way relationships, of gimme, 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 gimme. Oh, you're being selfish because you want reciprocation. How dare you want reciprocation? Kind of like the guy who doesn't know how to swim very well, right? But his wife says it'll be okay, I'll be out there with you. So he swims out there with her, but she wants to make it a race. She races to the dock and she can swim just fine. But she's not going to help him. She watches him drown. Oh, he's a man. He can take care of himself. She doesn't realize until after her husband is drowned that she really needed him. Women say they don't need men anymore, but you know what? We don't have enough women in the construction industry. Not nearly enough. Women are expectant of men to give them things with no reciprocation. They want to make a deal and then break the deal and then hide behind what? Their children. No matter what happened to her children, she was able to get them back, and now it's time to keep her word. And she said more than once that she's gonna. And then she says, "Oh, well, I don't know how. I don't know how." Don't lie. Do not lie. You know exactly how to turn it in. You get on the phone and you say, "This is happening." Not, "Oh, Sean believes that this might be happening." That's why you look at the evidence. That's the difference between myself and Claire. That's the difference between myself and Natalie. That's the difference between myself and all of these different predators, is that I backed it up with evidence that nobody wants to look at. And these people want me to take their word blindly. Oh, I turned it into the cops. Really, the cops said that you didn't. But I'm the one harmed for it. Either the cops are lying or you're lying. If the cops are lying, you help me turn it in. If you don't help me turn it in, I'm going to assume the cops are telling the truth about you being a liar, and I'm going to post it all over the internet. Why? Because that's the right thing to do. You don't care because it's not happening to you. There's these folks who want to get a hold of me because I made a YouTube video where I told the truth about them, right? They want to ignore the fact that there are millions of views on these YouTube videos that lie about me, and that these people know that they're lies, but they never come forward about it. They want to pretend that it's something I can just ignore. And then they want to get a hold of me and threaten my life and be hateful and pretend like the end of the world is here because I told the truth about them in a video that 45 people saw. Might not have even been 45 people. It might have been 5 people watching it over and over again. We don't know. But the reality is, Claire is in the screwed up situation that she's in because she screwed over people. She took advantage of people. She wanted the services, she didn't want to do the work. She wanted the money, she didn't want to do the work. She wanted to take up my time and get free things out of me by making empty promises she never filled in on. I mean, it wasn't just the equal thing. It also got to the point where I was doing a lot of stuff for her and Casey, and they literally not once ever came through and tried to reciprocate. Not once ever. What they wanted to do is talk over me and talk about themselves, and it's disgusting. Now, of course, we got a lot of people like Shea Burton. She liked to bully people because she was married to a guy named Theo who was a bully. And then afterwards, she wants to complain that she has PTSD from the abuse from him. Well, with all due respect, I have some very, very, very not so happy memories about her, too. The things that she did to a great many people. But then she wants to whine and do the, oh, poor me, I have PTSD. Not poor you. PTSD is not a valid excuse for doing those shitty things to a person. Now, if you have to do something desperate, I can understand that. Claire didn't have to do something desperate. She could have gone in with me right from the start. She had someone there with her who was willing to go in with her and record it. Somebody who was willing to verify the parts that I had seen. So when she says that nobody would help her, she's absolutely wrong. Then, of course, women want to type a bunch of stuff just like these men. See, I'm sorry to point this out, but it's not a sexist thing being a lying piece of crap. When it comes to women, both men and women are more likely to help you out, even if you're full of crap. If you're a man, both men and women are likely to blow you off. Despite the fact that you're telling the truth and got lots of evidence, they won't even look at it. And then, of course, there's the excuse afterward, oh, he's mentally ill. Now, Claire complains about having to go through these very same things, but there's a very big difference. Again, I've offered to go in with Claire. I've offered to make the calls with Claire. I have repeatedly tried to turn in the abuse that she claims was committed against her daughter. I haven't heard her daughter say so. I haven't seen any evidence of this. Basically, what I've got is Claire's story and just Claire's story. Now, if she doesn't want my help with this or doesn't need my help with this, then I don't need her to tell me her story 10,000 times over. But you notice in the conversations that I post up with her, yeah, she's going to focus on that. She's not going to look at the evidence and help turn it in. She'll talk about it, but she will literally not lift a finger to turn it in. Ever. She's never going to. I came to terms with that years ago. However, I have to work with her because she's another victim in order to turn these people in. See, the chance that she might be telling the truth, well, that's just too significant to ignore, especially when there's children involved. And what are the chances that these guys want to wait till she's 18 and say, oh, well, we're not going to press charges. She's 18 now, whatever. It's a very screwed up situation. Men should not have to depend on women in these situations because women are not going to be sympathetic. In most of these situations where I had to go to professional women for help, I end up hearing their whole life story and they don't learn shit about me. Claire offered to help right back at the very beginning, but she just never kept her word. It's a manipulation thing. Just like the police, they don't want to be held accountable. None of these people who did horrible things to me want to be held accountable. I don't want Claire to go to prison. I want her to take care of her kids. But also, your kids are not a valid excuse for being such a shitty person when you say that you're going to help another victim. All of the issues that Claire is dealing with right now, she is dealing with specifically because of karma. She claims she wanted the help, but she didn't accept the help. And then she wants to bitch that nobody would help her to the one guy who actually tried to help how she needed. In exchange, she was going to help me in exactly the same way. Now, have I had anybody at all through this who has tried that? Who has tried looking at the evidence and then helping turn it in? No, not even once. Not even once. They talk about it. mandatory reporters refuse to look at it. No investigator comes to take a look at it, and that's all because no family or friend. Pretty screwed up, if you ask me. Now, I followed the guidelines that I'm supposed to follow. I went to family and friends for help. They were selfish, they were greedy. Many of them were on drugs or alcohol. I still have to depend on drug addicts in the hope of getting help, because people like Claire Jordan are never going to come through. She's never going to actually come through. 100% of the time when we've set up an appointment, 100% of the time she has missed that appointment. I'm not speaking up for her because she's a good person. What she did was horrible. The fact that she thinks that taking advantage of another person is an okay thing under these circumstances, no, it's not. I don't expect her to fess up to it because she'll go to prison and she'll lose her kids. Obviously, that's not any good. I grew up in the system. I don't think that her kids would be any better off in the system. They're better off with her. She never should have been forced into a situation where she had to do such desperate things. But then again, I didn't either. I still don't deserve this. But unlike me, Claire is getting help. She also has literally still never lifted a finger to turn this in together, ever. If we're going to turn it in together, the only thing that she wants to turn in is her stuff. That's it. If you're going to help turn in abuse, you need to focus on both, all right? If you're going to help me turn in the abuse that I endured, and I'm going to help turn in the abuse that you endured, then I need to know what it is that I'm there to help you with. If you've got evidence that what these people are saying is untrue, and I go in there and they're going to continue to try to say those things are untrue, and you have evidence that it's not, I can speak up right there and say, hey, there's evidence of this. Your narrative doesn't fit. She has evidence. But the thing is, Claire is very one-sided on this. She only cares about her own situation. She is very, very, very selfish. You get to hear the pretty words, but you also get to notice, just like with these other women, there's no follow-through. When Claire told me what happened to her daughter, I turned it in right away. And since I was in jail when she let me know that that happened, and it was over a jail chirping device, which is a text messenger, well, lo and behold, what did I do? I made sure that I pointed it out that it was on the jail texter. So they had to do something about it. They are mandatory reporters, and it's an accusation of child abuse. They have to do something. And I verified with Claire, they never ever tried to contact her. No investigator ever came to speak with me. That's because I was locked up and had to try to turn it in alone. And as soon as I got out, I've offered repeatedly to turn it in with her. Well, she claims now that they're helping her, but she keeps going back and forth between, yeah, they keep saying they're going to help, but they're not. And I'm still waiting. And this SOB has been out there for years, and all this other stuff that she keeps claiming that this dude is doing. And in reality, like, I don't know if that's true or not. I'm not there to see it. Unlike me, she's not sending any video evidence. When it comes to mandatory reporting, the accusation of abuse is enough to begin an investigation. That's the problem with being slandered, is if you're delusional, though. You need somebody to speak up that it's not a delusion. And that's all I needed a friend to do. Take a look. Take a look. All right? Before Natalie died, like right after the Natalie Bollinger situation got started, I could have shown somebody in probably 20 minutes what was going on. By the time it was 6 months in, it probably would have taken a couple hours. By the time Natalie was killed, it might have taken a day or two to show everything. Because it isn't just the abuse that I had to endure from these people who were assaulting me and attacking me, it's also the abuse that I had to endure from the people who claimed to be my friends. They didn't want to hear my story, they were too busy giving advice. A lot of men now are saying we should not help women. I 100% agree. If she wants a house, she can build it herself. If she wants the sewer fixed, she can go out and rent a ditch witch. And she can go out and she can do that work herself. If her basement floods, she can clean it out herself. Because you know for goddamn sure, if you needed that help, she's not showing up and she doesn't have the knowledge anyway because she doesn't care. Women don't care what it takes to fix any part of a house as long as there's a man there to fix it for her. Nearly every woman I know wants to be treated like she's disabled just because she's a woman. Because she's a woman, she expects to be coddled. She expects people to buy everything for her and pay everything for her and take care of her. And it's owed to her because she's a woman. You know, there's plenty of men who worked their whole lives, got injured on the job, and don't get that. There's plenty of veterans on the streets who served in foreign wars. Many of them lost limbs. They're not getting these services. They're not getting this help. They're getting run around in circles too. See, we've taught women that they don't have to work and they don't have to take any responsibility for anything. We taught them that. I don't mean men, and I don't mean women. I mean our society. Us men being stupid, being taught from day one that it is our job to protect women and children. Well, I don't think we should. I don't think we should protect women and children anymore. We have created a situation where women are not responsible for anything, and anything that you do to defend yourself, to protect yourself, is going to be construed as you being a horrible person. If you don't take her abuse, you're a horrible person. When she slanders your name because she didn't get what she wanted, you're a horrible person. When her friends and their boyfriends and husbands and brothers or whoever are assaulting you over something that is untrue, well, it doesn't matter. Oh, there's no crime committed there. She didn't do anything wrong. It was these other people. Meanwhile, these other people are getting away with it because I can't turn it in because I get called mentally ill, and Claire Jordan claims that she understands that, but she doesn't. If she wanted the help, she had the opportunity for help here, and she has had the opportunity for help many times since she went to Colorado. But the thing is, she's not going to help me. She's going to talk about herself. And that's why the conversations that her and I have are just conversations. Because I know when it comes down to it, in those conversations, she's going to admit a lot of stuff that is important and verifies my situation. I know that she's literally never going to make an actual effort to turn it in with me. And I know that as far as showing me evidence of the stuff that she's going through now, yeah, it could be a completely manufactured story for all I know. That's the truth. The stuff I got to see here in Tillamook, I can verify is true. But anything since then, for all I know, she's been on drugs the whole time and having schizophrenic delusions. Now, from what I know of her, from my personal experience, is that she doesn't do drugs and she is not delusional. Now, I'm going to say that again. When I knew her, she did not do drugs at all. I only saw her drink once. Never saw her do any drugs, just saw her drink once. The stuff that she told me about the other services in town, well, she wasn't the only one who told me those stories. So they were easy to believe right from the start, especially with my own personal experiences with having to go to these places elsewhere. When you're a homeless person, you're considered less than a human being. Now, she's lucky that she's female because a lot of services will help her. And in the area she's at now, like, oh my God, being a woman is golden. That's like, I don't even know how to express to you how many free services there are in Boulder County just for women. Most of the women that I knew out on the streets, the only reason that they were out on the streets is because they were too busy partying to bother to go to any of these services. On a rare occasion, police abuse did come into play. But most of the time, if you walked into the office on 55th and Arapahoe as a woman, you were going to get help right away. They were going to hook you up with services right away. Now, that also depends on whether or not it's court ordered. See, once there's an order by the court for you to go to different services for help, you're screwed because those services know that they can abuse that situation to get more free money from the government, which is just not okay. And most of these services are scams. The difference between you getting help and you getting scammed comes down to, do you have a friend or family member who cares? And I don't. If I ask Claire questions about my situation that I've told her at least a dozen times or more, or ask her about situations involving the Natalie situation, she doesn't know anything. She can't tell me anything back because she doesn't remember any of it or retain any of it. So it ends up just being her and I having a piss contest of trading stories, basically. At least it's evidence that somebody else had the same experiences or similar ones. And it's also proof that it's the same people involved. As far as them pretending that she was schizophrenic and delusional while she was here, well, they're absolutely wrong about that. With them trying to pretend that she was on drugs while she was here, they're absolutely wrong about that. The thing is, I'm not getting the help that I need. What I need is somebody to look at the evidence, and then when we have to turn it in, tell the people that we're turning it into that it exists, that it's not a delusion. I tell them that these videos exist, they refuse to look and pretend it's a delusion. If you tell them it's not a delusion, you are verifying I'm telling the truth, and they're no longer allowed to treat me like I'm a schizophrenic nut job. Can Claire even handle that? No, she can't even handle that. Not because she's sick, not because she's got kids, but because she is selfish and lazy.